Have you ever looked at a star, a tree, or even a simple stone and wondered if there's more to it than meets the eye? Panpsychism suggests that consciousness might be a fundamental feature of the universe. It proposes that some basic form of experience could be present in all things. This could be incredibly simple, perhaps a mere flicker of experience. The complexity of human consciousness would arise from these fundamental entities. Panpsychism offers a potential way to understand the hard problem of consciousness. The idea that the universe is in some way alive or imbued with mind is not new. It stretches back to the very dawn of philosophy. Ancient Greek thinkers were among the first to explore concepts akin to panpsychism. Thales of Miletus, often considered the first philosopher, believed that all things were full of gods, suggesting a kind of vital force or soul in nature. Later, Anaxagoras proposed the concept of nous, or mind, as an ordering principle that permeated all matter, setting it in motion and giving it form. The Stoics believed in pneuma, a vital breath or spirit that pervaded the entire universe, acting as its soul and guiding principle. Plotinus, a Neoplatonist philosopher, spoke of the One, an ultimate transcendent source from which all reality, including individual souls and the world soul, emanated. Centuries later, during the Renaissance, these ancient ideas found new expression. The Italian philosopher Giordano Bruno envisioned an infinite universe filled with countless worlds, each potentially inhabited and ensouled. The Enlightenment period brought a significant shift in thinking about mind and matter. René Descartes, a key figure, famously proposed a strong dualism. He argued that mind, res cogitans, or thinking substance, and matter, res extensa, or extended substance, were two fundamentally different kinds of things. This separation was influential, leading to a view of the physical world as a machine, devoid of any inherent consciousness. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, a German philosopher and mathematician, offered a different vision with his theory of monads. Leibniz proposed that the universe is composed of an infinite number of these monads, which are simple, indivisible, and fundamental substances. Crucially, each monad possesses its own unique degree of perception or appetition, a kind of primitive form of consciousness. For Leibniz, reality was not dead matter, but a hierarchy of perceiving entities, from the simplest forms to the most complex, like the human soul. Modern science confronts the mind, theories, tests, and tentative truths. In recent decades, the puzzle of consciousness has moved more firmly into the realm of scientific investigation, partly driven by the persistent hard problem. One prominent example is the integrated information theory developed by neuroscientist Giulio Tononi. IT proposes that consciousness is identical to the amount of integrated information a system can generate. This is quantified by a measure called phi. The higher a system's phi, the more conscious it is considered to be. IT is not just a philosophical idea, it makes testable predictions. Researchers are exploring ways to measure phi in the human brain, for instance, by observing responses to transcranial magnetic stimulation. Some studies suggest that phi decreases when a person loses consciousness, such as during sleep or anesthesia, and recovers upon waking. Computer models are also being used to calculate phi for various artificial systems. While still in its early stages, IIT offers a mathematical framework for understanding consciousness that could, in principle, apply to any system, not just brains, potentially supporting a form of panpsychism. Philosophical puzzles and moral mazes. The deep questions of panpsychism. Panpsychism offers a solution to the hard problem of consciousness, how subjective experience arises from physical matter. If consciousness is a fundamental property of matter, it doesn't need to emerge from non-conscious ingredients. Complex consciousness would be built from simpler conscious components, like physical structures from particles. This avoids the leap from objective to subjective by positing subjectivity from the start. However, this brings the combination problem. How do micro-experiences combine to form the rich consciousness we experience? Critics argue it's unclear how simple points of view add up to a complex one. Panpsychism's implications extend into ethics. If consciousness is widespread, our moral responsibilities might be greater than we acknowledge. The dawning future of consciousness, charting the next frontiers. The exploration of consciousness and panpsychism within it is a vibrant and evolving field. Recent philosophical works argue for the necessity of integrating consciousness into our fundamental scientific worldview, rather than treating it as an afterthought or an illusion. Thinkers like physicist Brian Josephson continue to investigate potential links between quantum mechanics and consciousness, seeking deeper connections between the mind and the physical laws that govern the cosmos. These efforts aim to build a more complete picture of reality, one that fully acknowledges the existence and nature of subjective experience. New theoretical frameworks are also emerging. For example, cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman proposes that consciousness does not arise from physical matter. Instead, he suggests that universal consciousness is primary and it creates brain activity in the physical world as we perceive it. More recently, Sergei Yurchenko's concept of bioprotopsychism attempts to connect the origins of consciousness more directly with evolutionary theory, suggesting that life itself is intrinsically linked to rudimentary forms of experience. The quest to understand consciousness is one of the most profound and exciting intellectual journeys humanity has undertaken.